Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got a book review for you today. It's a book that I saw on Audible. I actually didn't get too many recommendations on this one. I just saw it. It looked like it had really good reviews. It was something that I was pretty interested in, and it was recommended to me by Audible. It's called Peak Performance, and it's by Brad Stulberg and Steve Magness. And it says, elevate your game, avoid burnout, and thrive with the new science of success. I have to tell you, I was not particularly impressed by this book because I felt like it was a sort of a big summary of a lot of the other popular books on these topics, and it rehashed a lot of the pop sci that I heard. Now, I hate to give a book a negative review. Like I said, I hate to pick books that are not that great because I usually try to do a good job of filtering ahead of time, and I should have probably waited to get a recommendation from someone before picking up this book. I'm not going to say that it was all a waste of time, because there were some valuable things in the book. It was good to rehash some of these ideas, but there's nothing that's really sticking with me aside from one thing that I got from the book, which might be worth the entire listen of the book itself, which was the idea of sleep more. And there was a section in the book where where the authors, it was kind of weird the way that the book was written. They used the word we a lot. Like it was really just kind of, it felt weird that the authors said we instead of I, right? It's weird when you have co-authors and they do that. Don't do that if you do a book, because it just, especially in the audio version, I feel like I can't identify with you because I don't know who you are, right? And it's just weird. But there was a point where they talked about a lot of professional sports athletes and teams, and had some studies, and they showed that by increasing their sleep to like 10 hours, and just the idea that if you do a lot of extreme type of fitness, that 10 hours may be what you need, or maybe even more than that, to sleep. That convinced me that I'm not getting enough sleep and that my performance is probably hurting because of that, and that I do need more than the 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I try to normally get about 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I definitely can't function on less with the amount of physical exertion that I do during the week. I run about 40 miles a week, and I'm lifting and I'm fasting, right? And I stand all day at my standing desk. So there's definitely a lot going on. So I think that one thing has convinced me that what I'm going to do is actually turn off my alarm clock again. I just got into the habit of setting it, and I think it probably makes sense to just sleep as long as I need to sleep. I know not everyone has the luxury of doing that, but since I do, I should do that. If you don't, maybe going to bed earlier is something that we all have the luxury of doing. But that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to try that out, and that makes a lot of sense. And there's just a lot of stuff that made sense with that part of the book. Now the rest of the book, it covers a lot of kind of the hacks, the tactics, a lot of stuff. I did this book I reviewed this book that was really good, which a lot of this was based off of. Let me pull up the name. You're not going to believe the name of it. It's called Peak. So Peak kind of ripped off Peak. This is a different book, Peak. You can check out the review I did there. And this one's Peak Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. And this was by Anders Ericsson and Robert Poole, right? I want to make sure these are definitely separate books. It's weird. I didn't even realize that it was the same. That's unfortunate. I actually am a little bit displeased that they chose to name the book the same. And obviously they read that book and got a lot of the ideas, because they mentioned the 10,000 hour rule in there. And the first book that I had reviewed, the one that I just mentioned, was the one that actually had that. And that was a much more valuable book. So this was sort of just a hash of a bunch of things. Now, it would be more valuable for someone who was not familiar with these concepts, but if you're familiar, if you've read a lot of the pop sci kind of books, then this is not going to be a lot of new news for you. You know, there was a whole big section on meditation and the benefits of that, and I've heard all this stuff so many times. It's been done. It was really, I'm tired of hearing the same exact things over and over again in this study and this, all pointing to the same things that we need to do for performance, right? You know, not multitask, all of this stuff. So nothing super new, but again, probably a decent summary of this stuff, probably some stuff that maybe you could pull from 5 or 6 books. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the authors read the same 5 or 6 books that I read. I could probably tell you exactly which ones they pulled their information from. Again, not to knock the book, it's pretty well written, it's a decent book, the advice is good, it's just that it's not anything revolutionary or new, and it didn't really make me think that deeply. It felt like there was a decent amount of fluff in there. Again, I hate to write a negative review in any way, because I still think it's a good book, I still think it's a quality book, I still think it beats 90% of the books out there, but not for me. I would thumbs down this one. So if you're like me, if you already have sort of read most of these books that I've read or recommended here, this one might be one to skip. But I did get the sleep thing from it, so I don't regret my time because that sleep thing alone could be worth the time. So there you go. The book is called Peak, and it is not to be confused with the other Peak, which was really, really good, which was a 10 out of 10 recommend that one. But this one, not so much. Go check it out if you want. Hey, if you haven't subscribed already and you want to make sure you don't miss any of these reviews, any of the videos I do, make sure you click the subscribe button, but especially click the bell so you don't miss any of the videos, because sometimes videos come up and they don't show up on your subscription pane. I know what's up with that, YouTube, but hey, that's how it is. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.